Well, it's good to be here again. I, uh, I always look forward to this moment in my week where I can come into my office and talk to people that that I don't see. It's such a crazy thing. But let me give you this kind of encouragement as we come to the close of summer and school is beginning, and here in Texas, at least, the weather seems to be changing. It's pretty awesome. I know I am speaking to people right now who are at home or traveling. And just let me give you this amount of encouragement. I hope you are finding your way into a fellowship of people. Maybe coming back to a church building is a difficult thing for you, but I certainly hope you are developing friendships and cultivating a circle of people that can hold you accountable and challenge you to live out your faith in a way that is pleasing to God. That's my hope anyway. And to the degree that this time that we spend together here can help in that, I really hope it moves you along. I know it does for me. We're going to continue learning about the good news of salvation that's found in Jesus, and it seems to be coming. This is the third week in a row that I've just chosen to stay in this one little section of Philippians chapter 2, starting at verse 12, and today we're gonna move on all the way up to verse 16. Man, we are like plowing away through this. And I want to say this, according to the and listen to this. This kind of encapsulates the last couple of weeks that we've spent together, and really going back weeks into our study all the way through the summer. Our salvation is simply not an individual thing. I realize that's hard to wrap our head around, but I really want to challenge you to let your thinking be reshaped on this a little. Our salvation, our completion, our rescue and redemption, our wholeness and hope that we have in Christ, our new life, is only found and fully realized in our shared life together. I am as convinced of this as I am of anything else in my entire world. The story of the people of God has always been couched in community. Don't ever forget that. Philippians 2, verse 12, we've looked at it the past 2 weeks. I just want you to see it again. This one part of it says, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Now, we're not going to go backwards over that, but I'm going to ask you a question as we move forward. What would you imagine Paul's very first command, after he says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling? What do you think his very first command would be? What do you think it would look like? Well, check it out, because honestly, I think it's kind of surprising. He says this in verse 14, do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Are you kidding me? Do everything without grumbling or arguing? Of all the things, it seems odd, even beyond odd to me, since for most of us moderns, people who are reading the letter 2,000 years after it was written, there are far worse sins than grumbling. I'll be the first one to admit that. But for them, the audience that Paul was writing to, he makes this allusion to the story of Moses leading the children of Israel through the wilderness. Yeah, he really does. It may not be something that you realized. Thousands of years before Paul wrote, Moses wrote these words to the unfaithful who were still calling on the name of the Lord. Deuteronomy 32, verse 5 says this, "A faithful God who does no wrong, who is upright and just is he." They, and he's talking about the unfaithful followers, they are corrupt and not his children. To their shame, they are a warped and crooked generation. Whoa! Same words. Exactly. Paul is talking about a story that was passed down by the Jews. The one that was revealed in the Hebrew Old Testament scriptures that the first century Jews would have been able to read, and certainly it had been passed down by tradition in their families. The same scriptures Paul would have used to establish and proclaim that Jesus was the promised Messiah of the Jews, especially to his non-Jewish audience. This would have been a teaching session for him. In the wilderness story, back hundreds, even thousands of years before, after years of captivity in Egypt, the people of God escaped. They were led on a journey through the wilderness by Moses. They wandered in the wilderness. And one of the characteristics of their wandering was they complained and openly disputed the command. They cried out, "We want to go back to Egypt. This is horrible. You said we were going to go to the promised land, but this is horrible. Can we stop walking? Can we camp here? We're getting really tired of this heavenly bread that is floating down one day at a time, and it tastes the same every day. How long till we get there?" Sounding like a little spoiled children in the back seat of the car on family vacation. Israel grumbled in the wilderness. The word grumbled means under the breath complaining. That's a literal definition. An utterance made in a low, quiet tone of voice. Whispers, secret talk, never positive, criticism, protesting, whining, belly aching. You can put your own definition in there. We all know what it means. Where do little children learn to complain? I'm guessing we are all just natural grumblers. In the New Testament, let's just say the word disputing, the one that Paul uses in this passage in Philippians, the word disputing does not mean the free exchange of rational ideas and opinions in a mutually beneficial and upbuilding discussion. Yeah. No, I think it looks a whole lot more like Facebook. The word disputing means arguing, quarreling, dissenting, fighting, usually in a heated manner. Look again. Look what it says again. "Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault, in a warped and crooked generation." How are we to be different As the people of God, how are we to stand out? How do we become pure and blameless and without fault? You know, you would think Paul would have given them some kind of a spiritual and theological exercise to practice, a discipline to build in their lives. Well, he does give them a discipline, but it's not the one that you would think. He tells them to stop complaining and arguing. About what? Well, I think if Paul were to continue his teaching right here and expand it just a little bit, his answer to the question would be, stop complaining and stop arguing about anything. About anything. Remember what started this whole study that we were on back in the first chapter, verse 27, where Paul wrote, whatever happens, whatever you are going through, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel, in a manner worthy of the story that our lives are built on. And then Paul concludes this thought, this section in what he wrote in verse 16 with these words: if you will stop complaining and stop grumbling about stuff, then you will shine among them like stars in the sky as you hold firmly to the word of life. Look, we also live in a warped and crooked generation. I believe that. But we can shine like stars. We, followers of Jesus, we really can shine like stars. I'm not seeing enough shining like stars these days, but Paul promises we can shine like stars. We live in a world, that is kind of in the process of redefining right and wrong. I get it. But we can shine like stars. Look, as followers of Jesus in a crooked and warped generation, our role, our voice, our presence, our influence even, it has been seriously compromised by the way that followers of Jesus seem to be living. I get it. So what does Paul tell us to do as a matter of first importance? What is the very first command that he says that is linked directly to the idea of shining like stars in a crooked and warped world? What does he tell us to do? Well, he says, act like children of God. Act like the heirs of promises that you really are. Be different. And the way that we are different, at least in the mind of the Apostle Paul, is stop grumbling and complaining. Stop fighting and arguing. Learn to get along. Learn to listen. Care for each other. Hold on to each other. Welcome others in. This is crazy talk. Think about it. Just by removing complaining and arguing and replacing them with a humble spirit of thankfulness, of contentment, of peacemaking. That will make us different. That will make us shine like stars in the universe. That will make us be the difference in a warped world. Crazy? Yeah, I think a lot crazy. We really can be light in a world of darkness. This is no empty command, and is certainly no empty promise. Stop complaining. Stop fighting. Stop arguing. God will make you shine like stars in the universe. Consider that today, will you? As you remember the body of Jesus that was given for you in an act of humility. It's His presence that we remember in this moment of fellowship around the table. Join me today, will you? Till next time. See ya.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise and treasures of faith never enough. You came along, put me back together, and every desire is now satisfied here in love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. You've seen them all, you still call me friend. It's the God of the mountain, He's the God of the valley, and there's not a place where mercy and grace find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning dancing, you give beauty for ashes, you turn shame into glory. You're the